Good morning. Thank you for joining me for today's Facebook Live. My name is Tracy Held. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator who apparently can't talk this morning in Melbourne, in Australia, and this is my regular Sunday Facebook Live. I've got a fun card today, something a little bit different, but I like the card and I'm hoping that you will too. So let's switch down and show you the card. There we go. That's what our card's going to look like today. And for once, there's not a huge amount of products in it. I'm using the Layers of Beauty stamp set, which I don't know where I've actually put, but we're using that big rose stamp from that set. And I'm going to use the Cake Fancy for the sentiment on this one. Okay, so it's a pretty easy card. There are lots of pieces to it. I have put all the measurements in the description. So let's get going. Let me throw things around. All right, now I'm starting with, it's a relatively small piece of cardstock, so much smaller than your normal card front. And I'm going to stamp my roses in Flirty Flamingo. Now, the stamp is a bit bigger than your piece of cardstock, so you just need to decide how you want to line it up. And it's going to be different every time, but just stamp it on. Okay. Big stamp, big pressure. Hi Lynette, thanks for joining me. Now, I have seen this stamp used just as a stamp, but I don't really like that because I think it looks a bit boring. But color it in and it looks amazing. And of course, we've got the masks for this, so that makes it really easy coloring. Now, I'm going to start with Lemon Lolly, and you can go as dark or as light as you like. I like my first color to be really subtle, but I have seen where people have done it dark and it looks really nice. And of course, the most difficult thing the first time is actually lining your stamp up, and sometimes it works really well and other times it takes a bit of fiddling. But alright, I think that we've got that right. I think that I've said this to you before when I've used this. I try and line it up, do a double check where I'm lining it around the edges of the roses, but then also if you line up that little plastic piece that's covering the center of your daisies, that works really well too. Alright, so Lemon Lolly, and sorry, my eyes just playing up today. So what I like to do is actually just mark where that notch is, because that then makes it easier for you when you're lining up your next layer. Okay, so like I said, I go quite pale, but maybe we need a little bit more ink than that. And I don't know how you hold your blending brush. I tend to have a thumb on the top of it because I just feel that that gives me a bit more control and I can apply more pressure there if I feel like I want to push down a bit harder to make my image a bit darker. But like I said, we want to go light on the first layer, and then we're going with Flirty Flamingo for the next one. And I don't know why I feel like this is flipped over. Like I said, if we line up the notch, then it's lining that up, and then we can just make sure that our little daisy centers are in the right place, and move the Lemon Lolly out the way so that I don't stick my hand right into it. Now for my first layer of Flirty Flamingo, I don't want to get ink all over everything either. I want to go quite light, so I'm going I mean, I do want some pink coming through, but I want my first pink layer pale. And you'll notice that I always just rub off before I start. I just find that if you go straight on, which you sometimes want if you want it really dark, but it does come out really dark and sometimes a bit blotchy. So if you just take that sort of first lot of ink off, it comes out easier. And then we've got this detailed layer on the roses, and no, that is definitely wrong. Okay, hang on, something funny is happening here. Okay, that's what I said. Line up the notches, line up the center of the daisies, and that should be good. And now I want to go heavy. I want my top layer to be really dark. And just remember, it looks dark initially, but as it dries, it does go lighter. So go all out here and really be heavy-handed. Now, the one thing that I didn't do, because I seem to be managing this quite well, but what I have done previously is just put a glue dot behind your piece of card just to hold it, because this is a bit smaller than your normal card front. It can shift, so if you just put a glue dot, then that'll stay where it is, and then your notch doesn't move around as you're going. Now for my leaves, I'm using Lemon Lolly, sorry, not Lemon Lolly, Lost Lagoon. It's all the L's today, and I don't know why I want to keep flipping and flipping this thing. I'm on a new contact lens and it doesn't seem to be behaving itself as well as I would like it to, so we're back to that old complaint again. Alright, now again I want to go pale on my first run through. And then when we're putting the detailed leaf over, and for the leaf I'm going with the same color, so you really want to get that difference in the tones where you've gone pale with one but you're going darker with the second one. And I'm just trying to line that up that it looks like it's okay to me. And no, something's very wrong over here. Okay, we're going to call that okay and hope for the best. Right, so again, this time I want to go dark with my ink. There we go. And you all know that coloring's not my strong suit, so for me this is amazing because it looks gorgeous and it's been colored ever so easily. Alright, now we're going to do our cut. Okay, I'm going to cut it and then I'm going to snap my sentiment. Right, so now I'm cutting this up at 4.2 centimeters, and I don't want to mess this up, so sorry about this, but I just need to hold this up so that I can see that I'm cutting in the right place. If you're using inches, you're cutting that at 1 1/8 inch, and then we're cutting it, oops, I suddenly looked at that, no, that's okay, I thought, oops, have I cut it wrong? Okay, and we're cutting that at 4.2 centimeters, into squares. Now, the one tip that I can give you is just be very careful when you're cutting it, that you actually keep your pieces in order and you know which one goes where, because otherwise when you come to putting it together again, it's like a bit of a jigsaw puzzle and it can become difficult with knowing which piece fits in where. And again, we're cutting the next one into 4.2 centimeters or your 1 1/8 inch squares. I don't know why this paper doesn't want to pick up today. Hopefully nothing twisted there, but I will double check it before I stick it. Ask me how I know. Alright, so just making sure that everything fits together where it's supposed to, because this one looks like it doesn't. Okay, it looks like I've done something here. Alright, that's definitely a middle piece. I did warn you that you need to pay attention and I obviously didn't. I think that's that piece, and then this one's going to go at the top over there. Okay, now our piece actually fits together like it should. And now I've got my little Flirty Flamingo squares, which are just slightly small. Oh, try that again. Slightly bigger than the squares that I've cut here. So terribly sorry, this is going to be very repetitious sticking, where you now want to stick your squares onto your squares. So we can go with Flirty Flamingo. And what does everybody think about the pink and the yellow together? I just thought that looked really nice. I'll show you. I've tried it with some different colors, which are very subtle. It's a very long time ago when I got married. My roses in my wedding bouquet were those sort of cream roses with the very pale pink tips. Does anybody remember those? That was in South Africa. I'm pretty sure that you get those same color roses here. So this just reminds me of that. And there is no right and wrong side to these squares, the Flirty Flamingo, but it's just sometimes when you cut the paper, it kind of feels like it has a little edge, which to me feels like it should be the wrong side. Not that it's very obvious, it's just to feel. So that's why I'm sometimes flipping them around, because it just feels to me like that little edge of the Flirty Flamingo should be going down. So if you were wondering what I was doing, that's what I'm doing. There's no good reason for flipping tiles, it's just because of the feel. Alright, now where you position your sentiment is very much going to depend on how you've stamped your flower. So you're going to put your sentiment somewhere, wherever you've got a spot that it's going to fit. And if I can find my Flirty Flamingo ink, which is hiding underneath the Lost Lagoon, I'm going to just put my sentiment over here. And let's hope that it's stamping somewhat straight. There we go. Alright, now probably the most difficult part is sticking this onto your layer and trying to stick it straight with somewhat even gaps between. Alright, so I'm going to give it a try, and if I work quickly, if I need to, hopefully I'll be able to shift the glue. Now I like going first layer, well, top, bottom, and then the middle. I just find that easier. If you can see and you prefer going 1, 2, 3, then do that, and try not to stick your fingers completely in the glue. See if I can just shift up and down slightly. Okay. Now, I feel like that moved, and I just have to be careful because you can turn these around, and I will show you what I mean in a minute, where I'm sticking to my story that it was supposed to be like that. It's a deliberate mistake, but you may or may not believe me on that one. Right, we want you going that way. There we go. No, as I picked that up, that shifted, so let's just shift it back, because that's the one thing with Tombow. It's good that it gives you time to shift, but sometimes if you're too impatient, then you pick it up too quickly and it hasn't had enough time to actually adhere. Alright, so there we go, onto the front of the card. And then for my insert, I've done the same thing. I've just stamped that bottom rose and coloured it in with the masks. So we have our inside matching our outside, and of course I am happy with that. Okay, so there we go. Pretty as. And you can try it in different colors. Now I want to show you these two, and I'm hoping that you're going to be able to see because it is quite subtle, but, and I just need to, it's so subtle that can I see which is which here. Okay, I think that this was the one. I'm holding it right up so that we can maybe see the color. That I used Basic Beige for that first layer. The rest is Flirty Flamingo. It's exactly the same. And then that one I used Soft Seafoam, so it's got that slightly green tinge. So when I had them all, I decided that I actually like the yellow, but, and I'm just looking at it and I've gone and stuck something wrong there. So what I was saying is my deliberate mistake. You can see here that this one, that flower's facing the wrong way around, and I don't know, is it me or isn't it, because I kind of feel like something's gone wrong there as well. But anyway, I will sort that out. So you can see I've turned it upside down. With these ones I've actually got that flower pointing up. This time it's down. I don't think it makes a difference. There is no right or wrong way here. And there I had a lot of space on that one, so I used the bigger sentiment. Alright, so that's our card for today. So really easy, and like I said, those masks make everything so easy and so pretty to do. And that's our project for today. So enjoy the rest of the weekend. If you're in Melbourne, stay dry. I always seem to sign off with a weather report, but it seems to have stopped now, but it was pouring with rain earlier. Have a good week, and I will see you again next week. Until then, bye.